Hey, it's good seeing you here. I hope this video finds you well. If you're new to the channel, my name is Jew Wills. I'm a social media influencer slash model who happens to be a little knowledgeable about subjects pertaining to spiritual and personal development. Last time I saw you guys, well, not even the last time, it was like the time before last, we spoke about reinventing yourself. And if you haven't seen that video, I'm gonna go ahead and link it below, and I suggest you watch that first because this is a part two. And I just want you to be caught up to speed. I don't want you to be lost on what's going on. So highly suggest you go and watch that. And if you already have, we're not gonna waste any more time. Let's get right into it. So we should already know what's going on by now. Feel free to get settled in, open your eyes and ears, grab a pen and paper because I am about to school you. Class is in session. Okay, so congratulations. You did all the work, you made it through the desert, and you came out a completely different person than you went in. You've completely reinvented yourself. Kudos to you, pat on the back. Like, you're no longer that same self-pitying, self-sabotaging procrastinator that doesn't get anything done, that doesn't have good relationships with people. Like, you are killing it now. Like, you're just winning that life, right? Like, you have nothing else to worry about. So you would think. I'm actually here to tell you that you just only scratched the surface and you have so much more work to do. This video is going to be what happens after you reinvent yourself. So make sure we buckle up and get ready because I'm about to dive in. Let's talk about it. So I'm going to share with you guys what I wish somebody would have shared with me before I started my spiritual journey. And that is, your new life is going to cost you your old one. And honestly, in a lot of ways, that doesn't sound terrible. It's like, yeah, out with the old and with the new, all that rubbish that I was dealing with in the past, let's get rid of it, let's move on from it, which is really good, that's great. It's like weight lifted off of your shoulders, but in the same sense, you're gonna have to make a lot of sacrifices. Everybody can't come with you. They literally just can't, A lot of people are gonna get left behind. And it honestly is not easy to do that. It actually sucks. Because what happens when you no longer have a connection with the things or the people that you used to connect with so effortlessly? For the reason being that when you establish those relationships, you were that lesser version of yourself. And since you're not that person anymore, the dynamic of those relationships is completely different. Now the relationship is at stake because you have to reintroduce yourself to people. When I say reintroduce yourself to people, like, it's almost like you starting at square one in a lot of your relationships, because the person who you used to be, that person that they grew familiar with, they no longer exist, And that sounds great and all, but to be completely honest, like, not everyone is gonna like this new version of you. For example, if you had like people-pleasing tendencies, everyone was just used to you going with the flow, not challenging anything that they say or whatever the case. Now you put your foot down all the time. You're going to bump heads with a lot of people. You have boundaries for yourself now. You respect yourself a little more. People aren't able to interact with you the same way that they were before. And to be honest, it's kind of like you pulled the rug from underneath them, And with you making all these improvements, you're not doing the same self-sabotaging activities. You're not going out getting drunk every night. You're not smoking your life away. You know what I mean? A lot of people might feel like they are being left behind. You know what I mean? A lot of people might feel like they're being challenged or attacked. And consequently, like, being around you is starting to become uncomfortable for these people. You know what I'm saying? Because you're just bringing so much out of them, It's like an urge to, I have to step it up now if I want to be around this person. These people are now forced to readjust to this new version of you, and that's not always going to be pretty, You've been this same person for all of these years, for all of this time, and you just kind of flip the switch a little bit, and what you'll find is a lot of people will kind of remind you of who you used to be, whether they take a chip at your armor, like who you think you are now, or just by being them and doing what they do, You get this feeling of like, I need to surround myself with better examples, because you don't want to backslide back into that old way that didn't work for you. So now you're stuck with this dilemma, do you keep these people around and risk losing everything that you just worked so hard for, or do you rethink your circle? Do you reconsider You know, if you want to distance yourself, how you want to distance yourself from people, or if you want to cut people off completely for your better good. And that's a really tough decision to make. It's really hard. It triggers a lot of grief, you know what I mean, from both ends, because essentially the person who you used to be is dead now, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, at the same time, they're grieving the old you, but all in while possibly being envious of the new version of you, depending on how well you're doing, you know what I mean? And it's just, it's a part of the process, you know? A lot of you may feel that, you know, that version of you that wasn't working for you, the version of you that used to be like overweight and not very confident and insecure to the point where you just wanted to sit around and gossip about other people all day, you know, that person is gone now. And now this person feels like you might think that you're better than them because you don't do these things anymore, and that's going to come out. They may think they're hiding it well, but they won't. You know, that's going to come out in little things that they say and like the energy towards you. And I would suggest you not take it personal. There will be that feeling of like, especially if they knew your struggle, especially if they knew how unhappy you were, there would be that feeling of, you know, how could they act this way or react this way, you know, after all these years of me being miserable, I'm finally happy now, and they know my struggle, they know everything that I went through. You would think they would be more supportive of this change, but instead it's the opposite. You know, they want to, it feels like they want to tear you down spiritually. They want to throw little jabs and comments and you know, maybe even talk about you behind your back. You know, they weird now. They think they better than us. They don't want to do this anymore. They don't want to do that no more. Oh, he dressing different now. Oh, he all religious now. She all religious. And you know what I mean? It's like, don't they know how far I've come? Don't they know how much work this took to do this? You know what I'm saying? But they probably don't. They just see the result. You know what I mean? They don't know what it was like. They don't know how many times you went to give up. They don't know about the restless days and nights. You know what I'm saying? They didn't see the process at all. They just saw the results, and they think it came so easily, and they kind of want that for themselves too. But to be honest, they got to do the work, and you have to distance yourself from that type of energy, because when you are stepping in, when you're in that cocoon phase where you are like leaving what you used to be and stepping into what you're becoming, you can't be around people who are hell-bent on reminding you of who you used to be. You know what I mean? When you're not completely where you want to go yet, because it's counterproductive. You got to go. You have to get rid of them, or you have to distance yourself until, for who knows how long. It may not be permanent, you know. Some people will come around, you know. Some people may never come around, but like, when you're in the thick of it and when you're in the midst of making that change, you just can't be around that. And it's just one of those things where, as unfortunate as it is, you just have to take it at face value. It is what it is. And you're going to be surprised at which relationships are jeopardized now that you've decided to become a better person, because usually it's the people that's closest to you, you know? It's friends, it's family, it's lovers, it's spouses. It gets weird. For me, in my personal experience, you know, I wasn't always the most confident. I wasn't always the most, you know, outgoing. I didn't always put my best foot forward. And I think a lot of people in my life were so used to that. You know, they were used to me when we were around. I was just kind of like the supporting character, the background character. And when I really stepped into who I was, it called me to fill in some big shoes. And now I'm like in the forefront, you know, I'm looking different, I'm acting different, I'm behaving differently, and it all looks great. And that really shook the table up for a lot of people. And it could be the same thing for you too. Like, let's say you decide you want to, like, I don't know, start baking cookies really, really frequently. You want to bake, I don't know why it's always cookies with me, but you want to bake cookies, and your cookie business, it blows up. It's amazing. You all over TikTok now, your cookie business bringing in millions of dollars, and now everybody feel entitled, you know, to your new success. They wasn't in the kitchen when you baking those cookies though. When you was baking those cookies, it was just you. It was just you. So you envious of the success that they have, and at the same time you want a piece of it at the same time. It doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, you're just really gonna have to reevaluate so much when you decide to step into who you really are. Because if you don't, what's gonna happen is, after you did all that work, after you walked through the desert, after you cried all those nights, after you did everything that you did to change everything about yourself, you're gonna have these same people trying to get you to resort back to that, and then it's like all your hard work went in vain. Quick math, they gotta go. They have to. Because the truth is, the road to self-discovery is like very lonely, You have to do it by yourself. And then after you're done doing it by yourself, you're not gonna be able to relate to your old life anymore, the same people that you used to hang out with. I'm repeating myself a lot because I really want to stress how serious it gets. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost surreal how quickly things could change. And it takes a lot of strength and resilience to, one, make those changes, and then two, keep it up. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people just aren't willing to do that amount of work. It's a lot of work, and it's heavy. It's a real heavy cross to bear when you got to face yourself and be honest and, rip yourself apart, build yourself back up. But it's necessary for growth. It's part of the process. And if it was easy, everybody would do it. But it's not all negative, because on the bright side, after you do take those steps to reinvent yourself and you do reintroduce yourself to the world and say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm about now, the universe is going to send you experiences and people that are in alignment with this new version of yourself. You know what I mean? So literally out with the old and in with the new. And sometimes that new won't come until you let go of that old. A lot of y'all are stagnant because you holding on to people that you don't need to be holding on to, Your success is delayed because there may be people around you who are just like, they probably know where you're going. They probably know like that you're about to do something good, and once you get on, they're not gonna leave. They're gonna do everything right to stay in your entourage. You know what I mean? What happens usually is a lot of highs and lows. Before you are exalted, you go through a low season. You go through a season where you're just a bum. You're just like a loser for real, and everybody shows their true face towards you. You know what I mean? And that's your time for you to take mental notes. That's your time to remember, eat it. Remember how it felt. Remember how the way people treated you felt. Because when you come up, those same people, they're gonna feel so bad, bro. Like, they're gonna be like, man, how could I count this person out? How could I, this person was just like 300 pounds and just like eating pizza every day and just being a big loser, and now they like a super famous celebrity fitness influencer. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I want to be their friend. It's too late. It's too late. You got to treat people well when they down, because you never know who's going to be up in the 5 years. And when you elevate yourself, you will see a lot of people eliminate and remove themselves out of your life. You know what I mean? They just can't take being around you no more. It's just reminding them of where they're not, especially when y'all came from the same place. I guess it might sting a little more because there used to be a point in time when they looked down on you, and now they looking up, and they can't take that. It wasn't supposed to be you. It was supposed to be them. That's how they feel. And when you meet these new people, they're not gonna know that old version of you. They're not gonna know, all of the terrible things that you did with your old life. They just gonna know this person in front of them, and they're gonna be able to recognize that this is somebody who did the work. Because 9 times out of 10, they did the work themselves, and you're gonna see each other, and it's gonna be a real nice bond, And so if it's anybody that's going through the process right now, keep your head up, keep fighting. It's all, just trust it, and just know that you're gonna come out of it okay, more than okay. You're gonna come out great, and let time show you, who's really in your corner and who's not. But regardless of who else is in your corner, who's not, you got to be your number one supporter, and that's just what it is. Because if you can't stand behind yourself, don't even think about expecting nobody else to stand behind you. People are going to treat you the way that you treat yourself, and that's just the reality of it. But yeah, I'm going to sign off here. if you like what you saw here today, feel free to share this video with whoever, you know. Comment a butterfly in the comments if you made it to the end, because I really want to gauge how long these videos are and if I'm losing people or not. So if you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate you, and just comment a little butterfly emoji just to show that we are here. And yeah, man, feel free to subscribe, and let's keep this channel growing. I see we almost at 500. We almost have 400 subscribers, and I just appreciate y'all for coming in and joining me on this ride. So that's all I gotta say. I'm signing off. Class is dismissed. Have a great day.